morning. It's 9 a.m. I know, gay people and an LGBTQ plus Kiki at 9 in the freaking morning. You know that's why I'm still in bed, right? Me? I'm FayWhat, and I'm gonna help you get your week started off right. We have lots of fun things to talk about. It's gonna be a fantastic week because I said so.
Rainbows, gay boys, hashtag that girl. Sunbeams, drag queens, L-word. Is that girl the girl of all our dreams? She's everything that every girl should be. Aqua, South Beach, hashtag that girl. Pride-filled, T-dance, Wilton. Is that girl Latina, but she's universal too. If you find a girl to love, only one girl to love, then she'll be that girl too. That girl.
Presented by Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, the FayWhat Show's America's first LGBTQ plus morning show. And I'm broadcasting live and also available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. It's Monday, October 14th, 2024. So I want to talk about Indigenous Peoples Day, all right? That's today, okay? So some of us have taken Columbus Day off and said, hell yeah, thank you, Cristobal. You know, that's until you understand why Indigenous Peoples Day must be celebrated today and not Columbus Day, okay? So Columbus Day honors Christopher Columbus and his arrival in the Americas in 1492. Arrival, okay? Columbus Day was first recognized in 1937 when then President Franklin D. Roosevelt made it a federal holiday. Lobbying by Italian-American community groups led to its creation as a holiday starting in the early 1900s. Now, why should you want to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day? Well, Columbus Day has been criticized for celebrating the discovery of a place that was already inhabited, okay? Take that in. And because Columbus himself is considered responsible for the rape and murder of those indigenous people, okay? One of the biggest misconceptions about Columbus is that he was a righteous person. I went to Rome, right, where there are statues of him everywhere. But for many indigenous people, including this indigenous queer person, Columbus Day is a controversial holiday. Columbus is viewed not as a discoverer, but rather a colonizer. His arrival led to the forceful taking of land and set the stage for widespread death and loss of indigenous ways of life, okay? How does Indigenous Peoples Day change things? It changes things because indigenous people are meant to be seen and the truth about what happened should be known. Indigenous Peoples Day offers an opportunity for educators, for teachers, for you and I to rethink how they taught us the sanitized story of the arrival of Columbus when we were kids. This version totally takes out or downplays the devastating impact of Columbus's arrival on indigenous people. Indigenous Peoples Day is an opportunity to reconcile tensions between these two perspectives. Research has shown that many schools do not accurately represent indigenous peoples when they teach history. I think that is true, not only on Indigenous Peoples Day, but throughout the school year, they're not represented correctly. Researchers have found that also K-12 schools tend to teach about Native Americans as if they existed only in the past and not right now. So I recommend all of you to get educated on this, okay? I would recommend a great story that I've said every single year during Indigenous Peoples Day. It's called Lies My Teacher Told Me. Okay, about Christopher Columbus. It's by a sociologist and educator named James Loewen, okay? And I would also recommend An Indigenous People's History of the United States for Young People by historian Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. These books just help illustrate both the impact of the arrival of Columbus on the indigenous people of the Americas and the role of indigenous people in the founding of the United States, okay? So with that, happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Now go be brown like me, okay? Go, go, go. All right, next, let's kiki about what's going on in the LGBTQ plus community. I have my sidekick joining me in bed with me. You know him, you love him, he's hot. You know who he is. He is part of our Gay Boy Sleep Late segment. I'm joined by my gay guy pal, adult performer, and star for the love of DILFs on Out TV, Alex Tikas. Make sure you follow him on his adults-only Twitter, @Alex_Tikas, and catch him as he bartends at the Eagle Wilton Manors. Good morning, Alex, and welcome back to my bed, honey.
Good
How
morning.
are you?
It's early.
I know, but you have a beautiful tan. Have you been laying out naked?
I have been going to the beach. I have been taking advantage of my living in Fort Lauderdale and say, I got a basket for my bike, because you know I don't drive in South Florida.
Yes.
So I'm like, let's do
Let's do this.
I'm just riding around with my
So you're looking there like Dora the Explorer
Like,
with a
I
little
am
book bag in your basket going to the beach.
I'm Doro the Explorer.
You're Doro the Explorer, you know?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, dealing with hurricanes, the normal, the crap, you know?
A lot of hurricanes.
Just the normal. I mean...
Are you in the flood zone?
Miami entirely is in the flood zone completely. It just seems to happen, you know? Like... with hurricanes coming and going, it's one of those things where just a regular rainstorm will get a flooding. We'll get something, you know, I was thinking back just in June.
Yeah.
In June, we had horrible flooding. You know, places around me in North Miami had 2-3 feet of water in their homes.
We have a tiny slope. Just like I have a tiny slope on the house, but it's just to watch everything else around just like slowly build up. It's really, my dog hates it. God, she's like, not again.
No, poor baby.
Like, I need you to poop. She's like, no.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna poop. I'm sorry, not gonna do it. Okay. How's the eagle?
You know what? The summer season technically is over. So things are starting to slowly build up. Oh, there's a lot coming up. Tropical Bear Week is coming.
That's a fun time.
The Mr. Eagle competition is happening. Oh my goodness, that is happening on.
That's a lot.
It's like,
you can ask David.
David, when is it? I was like, I think it's October 14th through 17th, but I might be wrong.
Double checking.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and we'll talk about it at the end if we want to. Let's do that. All right, so let's start talking about all the cheese and the drama, all right, that everybody's talking about. Let's talk about Billy Porter, all right? So Billy Porter isn't holding back when it comes to the upcoming U.S. presidential election. In a TikTok video posted while strolling the Highline Park in New York, he called out voters who are still on the fence. He said, quote, undecided about what? Pull your shit together. It's democracy or not. And we all know that, end quote. With Donald Trump and Kamala Harris as the key contenders, the Pose star's pointed message clearly resonated. His video quickly garnered over 50,000 views and 10,000 likes. Watch this.
Today, on the Highline Chronicles, y'all know I'm very political, and so I'm gonna talk politics for a second. Undecided about what? Undecided about what? That's all I'm gonna say. Pull y'all shit together. It's democracy or not, and we all know that. It's democracy or not. They saying the quiet part out loud now. When people show you who they are, believe them and believe them the first time. We did not. Many people held their noses and voted for him. People who know better. Twice, some of them. And now they writing books. Now they scared and they writing books. And you know who they are. I'm a name names later. I'm trying to not... I'll name names later. I'm trying to be nice today. But y'all know who I'm talking about. You people in positions of power let this happen. You held your noses and you voted for that man. Some of you twice. And now, he doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the office. He never deserved to be anywhere near the office. And y'all knew that the first time. You're not heroes. The people who I'm talking about, you're not heroes. Undecided about what, people? Undecided about what?
Billy Porter screams at undecided. What are we all talking about? He's not wrong. I mean, well, are you praying? What's going on? Are you talking to your Greek gods?
I'm thinking. I'm not praying. Let's let it be now. You can pray. I'll think. I mean, undecided. That should be like a big flat. Undecided about what?
About what? Exactly. And you know what I've had people tell me, Alex?
Oh, God.
You know, I need to get more from Kamala. I need to see more. I don't have it all yet. Okay. But he's given you everything. He's already told you who not to vote for. You understand? You know why she has to work harder? Because she's a freaking brown woman. That's the bottom line.
Who has to continually prove that she's like you,
That she's black. Yeah.
You have to like
her dad's Jamaican.
Oh my God, it's so. If you look at Kamala's education, she's like, I went here, I did this, these are my grades, bum 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 bum. He will literally sue you if you try to get his report card or whatever, his grades from Wharton, from the business. Why is that? Why are you trying to sue me for something that should be public record?
Yeah, like we couldn't get his taxes for a long time too.
If you watch the rallies, because I tried, but I failed. I'm obsessed with like watching. I'm obsessed with the news, and I shouldn't be.
So what do you leave on at home? What do you put on?
So I go on YouTube actually, and I watch Midas Touch.
Okay.
I watch a lot of like political. I don't. MSNBC. Rachel Maddow I'll watch.
I like
obviously.
Rachel. Yeah.
I mean, but just watching him at the rallies talk about nothing.
Nothing for an hour and a half.
Nothing for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Just watching her just like walk up to him at the debates and shake his hand and say, this is how you say my name.
Yeah.
This is how you say my name.
Yeah.
He's...
But there's still people undecided, Alex.
So the good thing is like what she's doing now, which is really smart. She is going to all of these. He's sticking to like Newsmax, and he's sticking to Fox News, and he's sticking to all of these outlets. He canceled he decided not to go on 60 Minutes and have another interview because she didn't apologize to him for the last interview, which she had nothing to apologize about. She asked him a fucking question. Sorry.
It's okay.
Edit that out. But just like, she is going to these undecided voters. He is still sticking with the voters that are going to vote for him. He is not going anywhere near the undecideds. So at least you see her going to Wisconsin. Yeah. You know, going to all of these places, going to Pennsylvania, going to Georgia, going to all of these.
Going to the battleground
states. Watching Florida just like go from impossibly blue to really like it looks like it might go blue.
The Villages.
Yeah. Did you see that?
The Villages. Okay, so folks, if you're not from Florida, right, the Villages is this retirement area of Florida. Lots of money to live there. Okay, predominantly white,
conservative,
cisgendered. Conservative people, like it's always like the running joke, like right, that is Trump country, etc. You know, they voted for Trump before. I can go on and on. Now, Biden steps down. Kamala is propelled up to where she should be, right? Running to be our next president. They all rally for her. Yeah. Over 450 golf carts. This is their way of getting around, right? All with Kamala stuff on it.
A golf cart.
I do. With the loofahs. You know what each loofah means?
No.
So they put different loofahs on their golf carts to tell other people, like, if they're swingers, if they're into this, if they're into that. Are you going to retire there now? What happened? What?
That's a great idea.
You should implement that in Wilton.
Well, that's sort of like the gay hanky code, because we have the hanky code.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. So they do that up in the Villages, and so the last thing I expected was when they did this rally for Kamala.
What's the Kamala loofah? Just they have a loofah for Kamala?
I don't know. I just saw like her signs and stuff on their thing, but like while they're cruising, they should be cruising. So maybe they had their loofah too. You know.
See the streets. You know where they got that from, though?
From us.
From the gays.
Of course
always
they did.
From the gays.
Of course, they always steal our shit. But I love it, right? The FayWhat Show is part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America. Hotspots Magazine has been documenting the LGBTQ plus experience for 40 years. And Happening Out Television Network has been bringing you daily LGBTQ plus news, talk shows, and more for 4 years. In the same model of PBS and NPR, we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization whose mission is to educate and serve the LGBTQ plus community. Now, let's look at our week, Alex. So we found out that the Tropical Bear Week is going to be in November.
No, Mr. Eagle is going to be in November.
Okay.
October 14th through 17th.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I misquoted you. You're right. Mr. Eagle is November 14th through 17th. Tropical Bear Week is next year.
Okay.
They're already prepping for that.
Got it.
What else is happening?
Got it.
It's just busy and fun. Just come.
That should be their tagline. It's just busy
It's
and
just
fun,
busy and
so
fun.
come.
Come on,
And by
yeah.
come, it could be spelled however you want.
That's
all right?
That's the code word.
And that's the beautiful about it, you know? And if you haven't seen the Eagle since it's got its renovations,
it's
you
lovely.
got to go check it out.
They did a good
It's
job.
fantastic,
What
all
are you
right?
doing? Are you doing anything?
I don't know.
Are you hosting something? You're usually
I'm probably hosting something.
What are you hosting?
I don't know. I'm like worried about, like, you know, Halloween is right around the corner.
What? Any ideas yet?
Yes. Yes. So the drag queens had a drag swap, right? And what that means is that they go and they sell all their stuff that they don't want. Wigs, outfits, gloves,
Right.
shoes, all kinds of stuff. So it was TP Lords, Erica Norell, London Adore, and some other drag queens that they had the room at the Alibi and they had all their shit everywhere,
Wow.
right? And I mean, come on, me as the, you know, drag, like I idolize drag queens, right? I want to have their stage presence when I get on stage. I want to be able to paint like they do. Like they're just incredible. Anyway, so I went in there and I had a freaking party, Alex. I was like, I want this, I want that, I want that. Shit that like most cisgendered girls have nowhere to wear to. But I have things to wear it to. I can wear it to the Eagle. I can wear it to anywhere I freaking
right.
want.
That's right.
You know? Anyway. But I also got some Halloween costumes. So I think I'm going to, so Erica Norell had this, Betty, the Flintstones. Who are the girls?
Betty and Wilma.
Betty and Wilma. So she had those costumes that
you're
she made
such a
herself.
Betty.
So I'm going to be Betty and I'm going to make Teresa be,
Very much so.
the one with the red hair, and I got her a big red wig. She's going to hate it. She doesn't know. She doesn't know, but that's what I'm going to do. And then, of course, come to Wicked Manors on the 31st because it gets no better.
So much fun.
Yes.
The world renowned.
The world renowned. I'm just telling you, Wicked Manners is the shit.
man.
All right. I love you, Alex.
I love you too.
See you
Always
next week.
pleasure.
Yes. Did you know that the Happening Out Television Network studios are located at Sunshine Cathedral Square, which also houses Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church located in Fort Lauderdale? We broadcast their Sunday service every week at 10:30 a.m. Before I move ahead, let me remind you that the Travel Club is planning Machu Picchu and Peru by train, departing on September 17th, 2025. We will be broadcasting shows at Machu Picchu, Lima, and more. Join us if you love to have fun. Here, take a look. FayWhat Show, we want to introduce you to interesting people who are important to our LGBTQ plus community. This morning, I present to you an interview with one such influential queer trailblazer. Let's take a look. Trying to get Mike in bed for a while, believe it or not, right? So Mike Sansevero is a community leader in Wilton Manors and an out gay candidate for mayor in this November's election. Mike wants to offer a fresh approach and new initiatives to move Wilton Manors forward. He has been a strong voice in favor of public art and has been an advocate for a stronger city voice. Mike for mayor is on the FayWhat Show, and I couldn't be happier. Mike! Yeah!
Hi, everyone.
How are you, Mike? How are you feeling?
Very good. I'm very happy to finally be here.
I know.
And be in bed with you, yes.
How do you feel being surrounded by pink everywhere?
I'm okay with pink. I'm okay, pretty in
You're
pink.
Secure,
yes,
right?
I'm okay with that.
Well, I really wanted to, aside from the fact that thank you so much for your service, thank you for your public service, thank you for running for mayor, all those things. I'm usually screaming from this bed to the younger viewers, telling them how important elections are, how important it is to be, city servers and just help at the local level, and just how important November is going to be for all of us. But I wanted to talk a little bit about you and have our viewers get the opportunity to know Mike better, you know, because I think that people know you because they see you at all these events, right? But they don't really know you, you know, right. New Yorker,
New York, Long Island.
Long Island, okay. So I'm from Jersey, right? But so I lived in most boroughs, and there's something about being from up north. You know what I mean? There's like, I don't want to say a meanness, but there's a way that we walk, right? We walk where we don't really run into anybody, but we don't really look at anybody. You know what I mean? But there are things that I miss about New York, like the hot dogs from the street, the yummy food from the street. Do you miss anything from New York?
I mean, I always miss New York. I mean, I feel I wouldn't want to grow up anywhere else. But there's a emotion, there's a dynamic there that you don't really get anywhere else, and there's such a variety of experiences. So growing up suburban on Long Island in the Babylon area was great. However, it was very conservative, very Republican area, and so that formed my psyche for a long time. I was very much closeted. Once I figured out that I was leaning gay, it was very much kept closeted because of the environment I was in. But I had outlets like, Manhattan.
Of course.
It was very exciting. And so there I could kind of be a little bit more myself.
Yeah.
But likewise, I was very corporate. So
you were a lawyer, no?
I started out working as a mathematician for an insurance company and then segued into corporate law. And I worked for like the most prestigious high-level law firms in the world. Again, in the 90s, it's a little bit different today. But again, if you really wanted to get ahead in those law firms, you couldn't really be
out. Yeah. So so the Manhattan and like places like the Village were like your safe spaces to go to from Long Island.
Somewhat, but surprisingly, what was really safe was when South Beach was getting hot, my outlet would be to fly down to South Beach. And so the Warsaw Bar.
Warsaw. Oh, I love that.
All the bars there.
Glam Slam, all of those places.
Absolutely.
The living room. Twist still.
So that's where I really opened up and decided I really enjoy living that lifestyle, which once I went back to New York, even in Manhattan, being surrounded by lots of people who may know me in the corporate world, I was a little bit more careful. But again, that's kind of the way I blossomed and eventually made the decision to move full-time to South Florida, originally in Oakland Park, although I really desired Wilton Manors, but pricing of Wilton Manors was higher than Oakland Park, and it was close enough, and for a part-time residence that worked. When I finally made the full-time move down in 2010, I wanted to be in Wilton Manors. And what I liked about Wilton Manors was it was a smaller community. Being transplanted from New York, I was able to immerse myself a lot easier in a community of 12,000 residents than one of, 30, 40, 100,000, 200,000 like Fort Lauderdale or Oakland Park. So
You live in Wilton now, correct?
I live in Wilton 14 years, 5 years part-time. But I've always been a community activist
Yes,
in
you
New
have.
York as well as here. My whole life has been in public service, which is kind of one of the reasons why perhaps I have not been fortunate to partner up with anyone, because I spend a lot of time doing that sort of thing. And perhaps that's a mistake, when I look back.
You regret it?
I should have spent more time on myself, but I'm happy with who I am and what I've done, which is the most important thing.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. It is the most important things. We can't change the past,
Right.
I mean, we can learn from them. And I know that you lived through, 9/11 and stuff like that. That
A lot.
completely changed the trajectory of many people's plans for the future. A lot of people came down here after that.
9/11, I was in Manhattan in an office building when 9/11 happened, and it was pretty traumatic. I knew people who went down in the Twin Towers, and for a couple of years, it just kept working on me, saying, and I used to work like 80 hours a week. I was type A at everything I do, and I said to myself, when am I going to have the time to just go to the beach on a Wednesday afternoon, or just do what I want to do before you go down in an office tower and your life ends? Because so many successful people
Perish.
like that, and you never know. And I said, I want to enjoy the other aspects of life, and part of that was the decision to come down to South Florida.
He made a decision to come down to South Florida, but he didn't come down here to rest, okay? That's the funniest part about it, okay? So, Mike, you're running for mayor of the beautiful city of Wilton Manors that I love and adore. I make my money there. I spend my money there. I don't live there, but I do everything else there, You've got an impressive resume, years of advocacy, your career in law, like we talked about. Now people want to know if you have the guts and the passion to do this role as mayor, So before I knew you, you were like the instigator on Facebook. That's how I knew you, You were always posting a garbage can that was out of place or a walkway that was painted differently, Have you always noticed things like that, like even back in New York?
I'm always looking to make things better or improve things, or to try to be helpful in moving things in what I consider to be the right direction. And, it's just the way I am. I'm very activist, opinionated, and, results oriented. What really started here was working through the Wilton Manors Business Association, trying to figure out ways. And currently I work as a realtor because I've been an investor my whole life, but trying to figure out how to stimulate business on Wilton Drive so that the businesses succeed and stay here. Because I moved to Wilton Manors probably 90% because of Wilton Drive. If there wasn't a Wilton Drive there, I'm not sure if this would have been the city, but that was the magnet that brought me here. It kind of was reminiscent of why I went to South Beach for Ocean Drive, or why I go to Manhattan for, Broadway, or why I go to Las Vegas for the Strip, or LA for Santa Monica Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
So it had something, and also all the gay-oriented businesses, bars, restaurants, clubs. So I want to make sure that remains and stays. I don't want to happen to Wilton Manors what happened to South Beach, or what happened to Chelsea, New York, both of which I experienced and very sad about.
Yeah.
So public art is something, when I go to cities, I'm always drawn to art. I've always been an art connoisseur. And when there's art on the street, I always look for it, take photos in front of it, admire it. And I looked around Wilton Manors and I said, I don't see much public art. Now we're going back 5 years. And I approached the city commission and said, shouldn't we have more art? And what is our art policy? And the answer was, we didn't have an art policy, which is weird for such a creative community as Wilton Manors. And so I tried to get them to adopt an art policy 5 years ago. It went nowhere. And again, not taking no for an answer, I decided to start the Sculpture Walk Wilton Manors program. So if you may have noticed the orange slices in front of the Sunserve building, or the Candy Hearts at the corner of 6th Avenue. I decided to do that. And without the city cooperation, I had to work with the businesses. And what was important to me is that art acts as a magnet to bring people there during the day to look at the art and perhaps step into one of the businesses and spend their money.
Completely.
Right? So it had a dual purpose, not only for beautification and to admire the art, but also to help the businesses. And
it attracts, and also it becomes an Instagrammable spot also. Absolutely.
And I had to raise the money mostly by myself, but with a small group of people, and we did it through Facebook fundraising. Now, the first two pieces were put up the week before we shut down for COVID. And I continued during COVID to raise money and to place more pieces, so that now we have 11 art pieces. So working on that program and trying to put forth ideas before the city commission got me involved with attending city commission meetings. It eventually led to me being appointed to the Community Affairs Advisory Board and being chair of that board, of which we did a lot of good things as a result, like writing a diversity policy for the city. And I truly believe we are diverse and all elements of government should reflect that diversity. And it doesn't.
Yeah.
And even after myself and my board wrote the diversity policy, we gave them actually steps to implement, how to reach out to underrepresented communities and communicate with them and bring them into the fold. It still hasn't taken shape. If I get elected mayor, that is one of my priorities, not only preserving Wilton Manors, Wilton Drive the way it is, and the LGBTQ community and culture, but also to bring in underrepresented groups into the structure of government, so that while, you always hear life is just better here, for me, life can be even better than what it is.
Even better.
Even better.
So your eye for detail, your don't say no way of doing things, your willingness to engulf yourself, right, in a community and on the board and stuff like that and make things happen. Do you think that these are some of the reasons why you are the better candidate for mayor of Wilton Manors?
I mean, I'm by far the best candidate.
By far, he says. By far.
By education, skills, training, life experience, as well as community experience. I mean, our current mayor, he does a fine job, but he's been in office for 24 years. I do believe in term limits. I believe in passing the torch to the next person and to bring in a fresh, new approach. So I have my platform looks to the future, and his platform gets a pat on the back for the past. So his motto is experience equals results. He's got experience. I'm not sure if that experience is relevant anymore. I think my experience would bring a lot more going forward to the city. So I have ideas, one of which is, again, to keep businesses in Wilton Manors. Certain cities like Delray Beach, Sarasota, San Francisco, of course, they have something called a legacy business program, and they have a registry. And you look to protect your core foundational businesses that helped build a city and which are the essence of the culture. Restaurants and bars like Hunter's, like Alibi, like the pub. So we want to keep them there. Rents are going up. They're threatened about moving. I mean, Claudia Castillo Gallery.
She had to move her gallery.
She had to move.
From a prominent location. She's got a great location now, but...
We're lucky she found another location,
Yes.
but we could have lost her to another city.
Completely.
And one after another. And, that we have to make sure we identify the businesses that have been here, let's say 10 years or more, to brand them as legacy businesses, put them in a registry, and give them all the support and help we can.
I love that. So we don't lose them. So
we don't want to lose that. And we want people to know that those are our legacy businesses, not to the detriment of anyone else, because everyone eventually can become a legacy business.
And every other business is important as well, but just to show how long they've been, that they're the foundation of Wilton Drive.
Absolutely. And going back to why I moved here, those are the businesses that were here when I moved here, why I wanted to move here, and I don't want to lose them.
Of course. Mike, you have said that you're fighting for the protection and preservation of the LGBTQ community. I saw that on your website. What would you do to preserve and protect the lives of the most affected in our community, our trans community?
Well, First of all, it's a matter of treating everyone with respect and the dignity they deserve. As far as providing direct city services, I mean, certainly non-discriminatory policies are a must, but our city does not have the type of services as a city that a big city like Miami or Fort Lauderdale or New York have. So we have nonprofits that counsel and help individuals. I mean, we recognized transgender individuals on my community affairs board for Woman of the Year. We had a trans member of our board, Carvel Estroplet, that I work with and I'm friends with. So, my ear is attuned to all that. I'm very active in the Dolphin Democrats, which is very much in the forefront of fighting for trans rights. I believe, and this is where a gay mayor versus a straight mayor makes some difference, but for instance, over the last year and a half, the way not only the LGBTQ community has been trounced upon, but the trans community by DeSantis and Tallahassee and MAGA, we need a mayor in Wilton Manors with a strong voice to resist that kind of dialogue. We need to fight that strongly as much as we can. And Wilton Manors, being, as they say, perhaps the second gayest city in America, has a role. The mayor has a role to play. And you can't surrender. And my view is the current mayor surrendered last year because he was afraid that if he spoke too loudly or took any actions, he could be removed from office. And for me, if it takes speaking up on behalf of people who need a voice, that I'm sacrificed, if I'm removed, well, so be it. This job is not the be all and end all. I'm here to do good and to be a voice. And I believe as a mayor, I would be a much stronger voice on issues like drag, on Don't Say Gay, on book banning, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, all the stuff that our community is facing right now. You kicked butt at the City Candidates Forum. You kicked serious butt, okay? I'm very proud of you. You came out swinging. And I heard from someone who attended that it was, quote, undecided vote changing. All right? What was the most important part of that evening for you?
I think, my speaking about, and I did meet with one of the residents who attended. Her husband said, my wife attended. She liked what you had to say, and she would like a lawn sign to put on 6th Avenue. And she mentioned to me she particularly liked my views on what I just discussed about small businesses and legacy businesses and protecting the economic feasibility and viability of the drive. So I think that's strong. I don't think the mayor's done enough. I can tell you, based on conversations, that most of the business owners on the drive are supportive of me. They may not come out because they don't want to alienate a sitting mayor, but they've taken my signs, put them out, and are frustrated with the way they're treated by the city. I mean, there was a meeting recently. The city really does not put on any events. All the events are pretty much done by nonprofits or the businesses. So to put on an event, you need to get a special permit from the city. And the amount of red tape and aggravation the city puts these people through to put on something that's good for the community is
like Rock the Block. How amazing was that event? And we closed like 2 blocks or something.
Unbearable. Now, the mayor kind of takes credit for everything, including Rock the Block. Had nothing to do with him. Had to do with the nonprofit and Harmony Waves doing it. But I can tell you, Gary told me it was horrible what he had to go through to get that special permit.
And you would try to help with that.
I mean, Tropical Bear.
Tropical Bear Week, yes.
They run an event in Wilton Manors. They run pretty much the same event in Fort Lauderdale. And I was shown the paperwork of the 2 cities of what it takes to put on the event. And it was unbelievable how much more difficult, how much more paperwork was necessary in Wilton Manors than Fort Lauderdale. And it should be the other way around.
Yeah.
It should be easier here. We're a small city. We know each other. There's only a certain number of businesses. So making it easier, less red tape for businesses, for permits, for getting signs, for a host of things. I believe that's what's going to help businesses survive and also make people happier, also for residents.
Yeah.
Lots of residents get the runaround on getting things done on their homes. So, you know, I know life is better here, but all these things can be done better and
More efficient.
I'm very aggressive about things like this. You know, I'm not just going to sit there and have votes come to me. I'm going to try to initiate ideas and try to lobby with the other commissioners to change things. I mean, people like Don Darminio, who I respect so much, and his husband, Mark. Don, since he's been elected, is for me, the only one that's a mover and a shaker. And that's kind of the way I am. And I would love to be there to work with Don, hopefully see Don as a future mayor. I'm going to view myself somewhat as a transitional mayor. I just want to take us from Newton into the future and then pass the torch to someone going forward. I'm not young, right? And I'm doing this because I love it. The money is really not much.
Yeah.
And I served on a board of education in New York for 8 years. I was elected to 2 terms by large majorities. I served as president of a board of education, a 9-member board. I did that for zero. They don't pay anything. I did that for 8 years for zero.
Wow.
It was a lot of time. So doing this as mayor is kind of in my DNA.
Who else on the council would you look forward to working with?
Chris Caputo. I believe Chris and Don represent a certain viewpoint, and then the other 3, including the mayor, tend to be more corporate, traditional, more staff-oriented. So staff needs a little bit of a shakeup, and I don't think the other 3 are willing to shake that tree too much. Don, when he sees that something has to be done correctly, he does it. Chris has been such a community activist. I disagree with him on very few things, as well as Don. But I also believe Mike Brockie and Commissioner Rowley were good additions. The thing about the commission, people say, why'd you run for mayor, not commissioner? Because those 4 commissioners, none are there more than 6 years. Paul Rowley's there in his 6th year. Chris and Mike are running for re-election for the first time.
Unopposed.
4 years, right, 4 years. And I could have run against them, but I didn't see the point because I pretty much agree with the direction they're going. And Don is there 2 years. The one that seems to not fit in is the mayor, who's there 24 years. He has been against a lot of the things that the other 4 have been moving the ball on, like public art, like development in the city, because the mayor proposed a 10% tax increase that would not have been necessary if he had voted for a hotel 5 or 6 years ago or other development. He's voted against most development over 20 years, and that deferment of the new construction is now costing us. We've got a stagnant tax base with rising expenses for things like health and property insurance and staff pay raises, infrastructure repair. So Oakland Park, Pompano Beach, Fort Lauderdale have all moved along. They've modest growth. We're not talking, the mayor talks, well, we're not going to build 40-story,
Well, we have 3
buildings.
but don't we have 3 projects coming up that will all be started around the same time? That's going to make Wilton Manors a little kooky.
Well, none of them are more than 6 to 8 stories.
3 different constructions.
One is
projects.
the hotel at 5 Points, one on 24th Street, Generations, and Wilma, right adjacent to Alibi.
And many people that I've spoken to think that this might be the beginning of the end of Wilton Manors as our neighborhood, just like we were talking about South Beach.
And this is where I feel as a mayor, I want to keep my eye on what's going on with the LGBT community versus development. For me, the Wilma project is a plus. There's going to be a parking garage and new retail, and there's going to be a very beautiful public square for gathering, as well as a lot of public art. Generations is going to be the same thing. They're going to have a new dog park, and the hotel, we need that. Florida is all about, tourism, and I believe the fact that we don't have a hotel leaves people to go to Airbnbs, which then people in the single-family communities complain about. If we had a hotel, my belief is every room that's rented in a hotel is one less Airbnb rental.
For sure.
Because for me personally, I would 100% stay in a hotel over an Airbnb.
Completely.
If I had
and,
the choice.
and we have tons of tourists that stay at a hotel on the beach and still have to commute into Wilton Manors.
Which is what I've always done, and the friends of mine who come to visit always stay elsewhere, and they really do want to come to Wilton Manors and stay here.
Yeah.
So all of this has been deferred, and unfortunately, as mayor, I can't go back and change what was what not done properly. If I'm mayor, I'm going to have a big headache for the next 3 years because we're going to have another tax increase next year and the year after. There's not a single shovel in the ground, and we're not going to collect tax monies for 3 years. So the mayor's, if he's reelected, is going to have a huge problem, and anyone taking the mayor's seat is going to have to deal with the mess that's left behind. It's kind of like what happened to Biden after Trump.
Yeah.
Biden had to clean up the mess.
The huge mess.
Right.
And you're ready for that huge mess if you are elected. You are.
I'm ready for it, and the thing is, I'm pretty resilient to attacks and pressure. So it's going to take someone strong, because there's going to be a lot of voices critical of what's going to happen. But you need to be strong to take measures. I always go with my gut. I do what's right, not what people want. What they think is right or what's popular. You've got to do what's right.
What's right for everybody involved. So, Out SFL did a poll 2 months ago, right, with you, with Scott, and Begay, right? And 2 months ago, Newton was at 56%, you were at 23%, and Begay was at 2%, and undecided was at 18%.
Right.
So I just received the new poll numbers, and we've got undecided 19%, Scott Newton 51%. Mike, 24.24%. Mark Begay, 4.5%. So you've moved up like a point.
A point.
How do you feel about that?
Well, a lot of this is name recognition, right? So the way I read that poll is for a guy who's been in office for 24 years, who's run 6 or 7 times for office, who's the current sitting mayor. Half the city does not prefer him. That leaves a lot of opportunity. So
that undecided is a high percentage still.
I also think a lot of people who say Newton, I'm not done. I've got a month left. So I've done 2 postcard campaigns. I've had texting campaign. I have another postcard, and I'm out there.
You've been out at Get Out the Vote office over there with Bud and all of them in front of Tropics, correct?
Yeah, I'm out there. So
Yeah.
I don't see Newton out there at all. So he's kind of riding on his past experience. I think there is going to be a surprise. If I've got 1 in 4 voters, he's only got 2 in 4. There's still two people who haven't said that they support Newton. I just need to convert, one of those.
Did you put it out there a couple months back about our current mayor of Wilton Manors not living in Wilton Manors for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, he was running on the slogan, experience, integrity, results. I noticed his most recent marketing is just experience and results. And I think it's correct he drops the integrity. He had a very contentious divorce,
Yeah, unfortunately.
right, a year ago. His wife, he was cheating on his wife. Let's just put it out there. She kicked him out of the house. The wife of 40 years, the house of 40 years. He was kicked out of the house. He went and lived with his girlfriend, Nora. She lived in Fort Lauderdale on Northeast 60th Street. He lived there for almost a year. So technically, he still had his house. He still owned the house with his wife in Wilton Manors. He still had his driver's license and voter registration here. But technically, he was out of the city living elsewhere. For me, divorce, there's nothing wrong with divorce when you go in different directions, you lose things in common, and you agree to part ways. But cheating is another thing, and the girl he cheated with also cheated on her husband. The way I found all this out is her husband called me furious about how they've been both cheating on their respective wives and husbands for a year and a half and making up stories. So, that to me goes, you're right to drop the integrity, because if you cheat on your spouse, you can cheat on a taxpayer, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow, a lot to unpack there. Mike, let's find out a little bit more about you. Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So we were talking before the show started. I'm surprised to hear you don't have a partner, but then I'm not surprised to hear you don't have a partner because just how your focus is right now, I can't imagine you having the time for a significant other in the way that they might need that, you know? Do you think this helps or hurts you not having a partner?
You know, it's kind of like late in the game for me, but
No, it's not. Don't say that. Hello, you want to hook up with Mayor
I'm
Mike?
available. I'm
Give us a
available.
call. We'll hook you
Yes.
up. Okay, you got to make a certain amount of money. He ain't trying to take care of nobody. Anyway,
I'm a very compassionate, caring, giving person. So I would love to have someone to share everything with. And it's, for whatever reason, the trajectory of my life has been focused on achieving. And the one achievement I haven't focused on is a partner for myself. I'm out there. I don't know. Maybe it's just lack of confidence in that one area. Everybody's
you
got
have
their
confidence everywhere else. That's so crazy.
Everybody's got their little Achilles
Yes.
heels.
Are you on Grindr? I had to ask.
You know, maybe I go to Johnson's too much.
I love Johnson.
You know, it kind
Don't
of
get it twisted. I love me
it
some
kind of distorts your reality of what you want. But you know, I would love to share with
You're
someone.
not opposed to it. It's just
No,
okay.
no, not at all. It just
Okay.
hasn't happened. And you know, a lot of times you have to make it happen.
Yeah, and you also have to like make yourself open to it. You know what I mean? And I think that right now your focus is definitely here and not over here. And if it gets to the point where you need to focus on you, then you need to focus on you. You know, I just don't see you there. I
know.
just don't see you there right now at all. You know, I could see it being a little tough to even date you. You know, you're everywhere. You're all over the place. You know, your life is kind of like out for everybody to see right now, you know, and it could be a little tough for someone to be on your
It would
arm.
be, but it would be great for me to go to the Hotspots Gallery or all these events with a
plus
partner.
one.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you want to date, Mike,
Yeah.
let us know. Okay.
Give me a try.
So here at the FayWhat Show, we love to play a game to just get to know our favorite people in bed with us. So it's kind of a speed round, okay? And so it's called Say What with FayWhat, and I will tell you something, and you'll just answer it as quick as possible, okay? So like I'm gonna say Game of Thrones or Abbott Elementary,
Abbott Elementary.
okay? And like that we play. All right, you ready? All right, cool. Coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee.
Plastic or glass?
Glass.
Tent or camping RV?
RV.
Fishing or hunting?
Fishing.
Blue or green?
Green.
Pen or pencil?
Pen.
Silver or gold?
Gold.
Vacation or staycation?
Staycation.
Batting or pitching?
Pitching.
Oprah or Deepak Chopra?
Oprah.
The Beatles or Elvis?
100% Beatles.
Morning sex or bathroom sex?
How about no sex? Morning.
Okay. Toilet paper roll over or toilet paper roll under?
It's definitely an over.
Right? It has to be. Are people not like sick? What is wrong with people?
The patent on it was over. It was patented as an over. I
Okay,
don't know
see,
why
I
there's a
didn't know
debate.
that. Okay,
Yes.
now I didn't know about the patent. Of course you know that.
I heard that fact, yes.
I love that. That's what makes you a junkie, a nerd, because you know these things like that, all right? Spiritual or religious?
Spiritual.
Fiji or Hawaii?
Hawaii.
San Francisco or Los Angeles?
LA.
Leather bar or karaoke bar?
Karaoke.
Brunettes or blondes?
Blondes.
Right hand or left hand?
Right hand.
Ball cap to the front or ball cap to the back?
Front.
Ham or turkey?
Turkey.
Your favorite place to get coffee on the drive?
Java Joe's.
Your favorite place to get a sandwich on the drive?
Sandwich. I don't get sandwiches on the drive.
What? I mean, you're from New York. You're going to say like a hoagie or something, right?
Well, I like Subway.
You see? Come on. He's for the people, right? You see it, right?
That's sort of on the drive.
Yeah, sort
It's
of on the
Dixie.
drive. It's
Yeah.
on the drive adjacent. Favorite place to get a haircut?
I'm blank. Across from City Hall. What's the name?
Dudes? Is that Dudes?
Yeah. Yes.
I love Dudes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you buy your groceries?
I don't want to, but Publix. I like BOGO.
No, I got you.
I'm a very
Okay.
smart shopper.
Okay, no, I mean, but that Publix is like a cruising spot too. The one at 5 Points.
I mean, when I bought my first condo down here, Mark Eagle was my realtor, and he would say, you know, it's the gay Publix. And
It really is kind of like, okay, so the Home Depot, right? They have, you know, jokes since the beginning of time about Home Depot and lesbians, right? But the Home Depot right there belongs to guys. It is not a lesbian, right? Your favorite place to get dessert on the drive?
Dessert, the Creamery.
I love the Creamery. I think wonderful. And you know, they have great like desserts for pups. I'm just saying, just in case, okay? Fun fact about you, Mike, that people would be surprised to know.
I'm a very prolific photographer. I actually had some photos shown during Pride Month at Hotspots Gallery. But ever since I've been young, I've been obsessed with photographing fitness models, right? You know, so I'm very good at it, shooting both bikini, bodybuilding, fitness. I'm very good at that, and I have a good reputation in that field, actually.
Wow.
It's kind of a side hobby I've been doing for many years.
Yes.
That most people in this community do not know. Some people do. In the art community, where I'm very immersed in the art community, they know that about me, but most people don't realize that about me.
I love that. I love that.
And part of it is I love photographing people who sculpt their bodies. Again, it comes down to appreciation of art, because that is sort of a statue of David and Adonis,
Yes.
right? And it's sort of, that's the image that I feel is it's a very artistic thing. It's a very hard thing for them to get their bodies in shape.
Like
But
that.
when they do, you know,
It's a beautiful thing.
it's very beautiful, and it's beautiful to photograph.
Yeah. No, I love
Like
that.
Michael Kraft and some of the photographers who display at Wilton Artworks and at Hotspots Gallery, they focus on male photography as art, and I'm kind of the same way.
I love that. So don't be surprised if you're going to see Mayor Mike's beautiful photographs in the next open exhibition over at Arts United Gallery, because now they're Arts United.
switched
Isn't
over
that
this month.
fantastic?
Yes, yes.
I love Dennis Dean. Like, he is just one of my favorite people on earth.
So Dennis Dean, I'm kind of in the mold of Dennis Dean because he shoots a lot of male, you know, models, right? He does it in a much more artistic manner than I do. I do it a little bit more of a natural look. But I've been following Dennis Dean and his gallery from the very beginning. 3 galleries across the street, Marco Tersolini, and you've got 2 others. You've got the 2 theaters, right? You've got
Yep.
Union Restaurant,
Yep.
right?
Union Kitchen,
So,
yep.
so you've got a whole entertainment area right there at Dixie. And so that community is actually organizing, which I'm very happy about, into an art district. And Mateo is leading that charge. And they're actually going to have an arts debate in a couple of weeks.
Oh, I love that.
Where they're inviting the candidates to discuss art, which
You're going to be there
I'm
first, setting
completely-
up. I know.
Completely ready for.
I know.
Yes.
I know you are. Mike, thank you so much for being on the FayWhat show. Thank you for your service. Look into that camera and tell those voters that might be undecided what they should be doing on Election Day.
So, number 1, today's the last day to register or change your registration. It's October 7th. Get out there, mail in your ballots. Early voting starts October 21st. But really, if you want some change in Wilton Manors, if you want a spokesperson for the LGBTQ community, a strong voice, please go out and vote for me. I can do this, right? The current mayor is not invincible. He lost in 2018, and he barely beat a lesbian candidate in 2020 by 100 votes. So he's beatable, and I would like to work with all of you to implement some new ideas and have a brighter future and a better future for Wilton Manors. So please go out and vote on November 5th.
Thank you so much, Mike. Now look into that camera and give them your best FayWhat.
FayWhat?
You did it. Thank you, Mike Sansevero. Make sure you follow him on social media outlets, Mike for Mayor, and get out there and vote on Election Day, okay?
Thank you.
All races matter. Elect LGBTQ, all right, on Election Day. Thank you so much.
Thank
honey.
you.
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We will be right back. So that's it. That's the FayWhat Show. I hope you had fun. Thank you so much to Alex Tikas for joining me in bed. Folks, you know, I'm really passionate about trying to connect the L and the G in our LGBTQ plus community. It's often hard for us girls, but if we believe we are one strong community, then we must support all the letters of our LGBT and Q plus. We open every show with a nod to Mary Tyler Moore and That Girl's Marlo Thomas. This show is dedicated to a strong LGBTQ plus community. I just encourage you to be a little bit kinder, a little bit funnier, and embrace our tremendous diversity because it really is what makes us so damn strong. Until then, make sure you follow me on all social media outlets, Facebook, IG, TikTok, YouTube, follow FayWhat. And since you're always on the go because you're so busy, you can listen to the FayWhat Show wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just search the FayWhat Show. Until next Monday, world, at 9 a.m. live or anytime on demand. Poor Alex Tikas is still yawning from me waking him up so early.
It's early.
He's so damn sexy. I'm FayWhat, and I am #that girl. I wish you a week full of sunshine and rainbows. Make sure you vote in November. Stay gay.
Rainbows, gay boys, #that girl. Sunbeams, drag queens, L-word. Is that girl, the girl of all our dreams? She's everything that every girl should be. Aqua, South Beach, #that girl. Pride-filled tea dance, Wilton. Is that girl Latina, but she's universal too? If you find the girls of love.
So, did you enjoy the show? I know you did. So make sure to click subscribe so you won't miss any of the events, news, or interviews right here on the FayWhat Show. Ring the bell at the bottom of the screen, right there, so you'll be alerted every time we're live. You can also click on the Happening Out Television Network logo so you can see all of the shows on the most diverse LGBTQ plus media network. Find out just what we're doing to bring the L and the G together right here on the FayWhat Show. Get the week started with me.